All right, everybody. I'm about to start sharing my screen with you here. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go and start getting myself a business owner's policy for my business. So I'm going to share the screen and take you step by step through it. If y'all are following me, main reason for this is I'm about to have my contractor's license. That's going to open up a lot of different work that I haven't been doing so far. And I want to make sure I'm adequately covered. Also, because I need to honestly, if I'm scaling my business, I need to have more than just my general liability. I need to have some professional liability. I need to have some of my inventory and my tools and stuff covered. So we're going to go get a brand new quote on a brand new business owner's policy. I do want y'all to remember as we go through this, this is going to be more expensive than what you're going to expect if you're just getting general liability, which is where I started out at. It's where everybody starts at. And I do have a video on my channel for just getting general liability insurance. But for those of you who would like to be really fully, thoroughly, adequately covered for every scenario, and you just kind of want to see what that process looks like and what the cost ends up being, I'm going to share my screen right now. I'm going to take you through the process and you can watch me get my quote so you'll have an idea how to do your quote. This is the page that you're going to land on if you click my link for Next Insurance. There's the general liability. That's the basic package. That's going to be most affordable for you. I don't need workers' compensation because I don't have employees, but I will be adding that to my business owner's policy at a later date when I do get employees, probably this winter. Here's the business owner's policy. That's what we're going to do. And that's probably going to include some professional liability coverage and some of these other coverage, which includes tools and stuff like that. So let's get in here and get a quote for business owner's policy. What industry best fits your business? Construction is what Next Insurance does. That's kind of their sweet spot. So we're going to click on construction. Handyman business would fall under construction. Looks like they can already tell that I'm in Arizona. Select up to 3. What type of work do you do? I'm not a general contractor, although I am going to have my contractor's license in just a couple weeks because I finally got that process initiated. So handy person, absolutely. No, it's not going to be that. Drywall and wall boarding work, definitely going to be doing some of that. I'm going to just click on these two. Electrical work, I won't be clicking on because although we do things like light fixtures and stuff like that, we don't do any work that requires a permit or that requires an electrical license, and that's really what this electrical work is about. So next, we want to make sure that you're in the right industry so that we can create the right coverage for you. What's your maximum job size? So for me, my maximum job size with a license I'm going to be getting is going to be up to $5,000. So I'm going to say less than $5,000. That'll apply to most of y'all too for a handyman business. Says, great, we can help get you covered. What email can we use to save your quote? I'll use one of them that I have for the channel. bulletproofhandymen@gmail.com. Don't email me at this email address. It's not one that I check for responding to you guys. If y'all want to email me personally, email me at bulletproofhandymanbusiness@gmail.com. Next, tell us about your business. Has one or more employees? No. Uses tools and equipment to operate? Yes. Rents or owns an office or business location? No. Uses vehicles for business purposes? Yes. Next, general liability. We recommend general liability because it covers blah, blah, blah. Continue, because yes, we will be including general liability. Let's see, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second while I put my phone number in. Click the I consent to receive text messages button. Legal business name and doing business as. Legal business name. There we go. I'm not going to show you all that either because I don't share my actual personal handyman's business's name. And then it's going to ask for your address. We're still on the same page here. It's going to autofill most of that for me. It looks good. Mailing address is the same. Yes. Now I'm going to click next, and then I'll bring you back in to share my screen again. All right, so share that screen. Gave them the information they wanted. Here's the next page. About your ownership structure. This is an LLC. It can also be an individual sole proprietorship. The name of the LLC is like single member LLC, and they don't have that as an option here. So I'm just going to say LLC. What year did you start your business? So that would have been 2020 that I started my business. Next, does your business have more than one permanent office location? No. Does your business employ any workers outside of Arizona? No. Next. About your business: number of owners or members. One, I'm a single member LLC. Number of employees does not include owners, so does not include me, or subcontractors or independent contractors, so 0. Expected subcontractor payroll in the next 12 months, including payroll for all cash workers and 1099 contractors. That's very hard to say, but I'm going to err on the side of caution and say 50,000. So there's 50,000. My son, for the most part, is my only subcontractor or independent contractor. He's a 1099 person. So I'm going to call that 50. I think that's probably fairly conservative. Next, select all the activities that you or your employees perform. Do not include activities you subcontract. We do carpentry, debris removal, door and window installation, drywall. We don't do electrical work because, like I said, light fixtures and stuff don't apply for these circumstances. And now I could be wrong. If y'all want to go do more research and you feel like it should be included, go ahead. But I believe what they're asking is if we're doing actual electrical work, not just light fixtures and switches and stuff. Excavation and grading, no. Fence erection, yes, we do some fencing here and there. We do not do garbage or HVAC. We don't do lawn care. We don't really do masonry work. I mean, sometimes some minor touch-ups, but I'm not looking to get covered for that. Metal ceiling and wall installation. Painting, yeah, we do a lot of painting. We don't do paving. No, we don't do roofing anymore. I took that off the list. By the way, guys, roofing adds quite a premium to your insurance. And for me, we don't get enough roofing requests to justify the extra insurance we pay for roofing. So we've just taken that off of our list of services. We no longer will get on a roof for anything because we're not going to pay the insurance for it. If you do want to pay the insurance for it, in my experience, it adds about $100 a month to your insurance. So if you're paying $100 a month and you add roofing, you've doubled that cost. If you get a decent number of roofing jobs, say at least 3 or 4 roof patches per month, that's enough to cover that, but we don't even get that many. So we're not going to click roofing. We're not going to do siding. We don't do solar, pressure washing, standalone pressure washing. No, we don't do any standalone. Sometimes we'll do a little bit of a garage floor real quick just to get some stains off, but it's not a standalone pressure washing job. We don't do tile, stone, and flooring. We don't do window cleaning. We do miscellaneous small jobs. Go ahead and click next. About your subcontractors, do you want to include subcontractor coverage in your policy? Subcontractor coverage covers damage to your work done by your subcontractors. I may change this later, but for now I'm going to say no because I do require my subcontractors to have their own insurance. Next. About your business, we've tailored a policy that covers all these activities for your W-2 employees: carpentry, debris removal, door and window, drywall, fence erection, painting, stucco, and miscellaneous small jobs. Next. Years of experience in your trade, all combined, for me, it's roughly 10. What is your expected revenue for the next 12 months? Now, revenue is the total amount of money that goes through your business. Revenue includes what you're spending on materials. It's impossible to know for sure, but I'm just going to say, just to be safe, going through my business in the next 12 months, I'm going to overestimate this. And I've had better years, but I'm actually scaled back a little bit now while I'm ramping my son up and while I'm focusing more on YouTube. So until this winter, we're going to be relatively slow until we kick off some new stuff in the spring. So I'm just going to say $200,000 total revenue. In fact, let's call this 225. How about that? And you can go back and adjust this, guys. Anytime you want to, you can actually adjust this and just tell them, hey, we're doing more revenue than I planned, and they can adjust your premium for that. Do you accept the following requirements to this policy? Number 1, any subcontractors you work with must carry coverage with limits greater than or equal to your own. I already require that. You must obtain and store a certificate of insurance from each of your subcontractors listing as an additional insured on their policy. I don't currently do that, but I will begin doing that. In case of a claim related to your subcontractor, you will not be covered without this documentation, of course, and your subcontractors must all have required licenses before performing work. I accept. Next. About your work. What are you typically hired as? I'm typically hired as what they would call a subcontractor or an independent contractor, not as a general contractor. Do you or your employees perform any of the following activities? Do not include activities you subcontract to others. So I'm just going to read through these. I'll let you read them on your own. I'm not going to read all of these out loud. This is all relatively specialty stuff that most of y'all are likely not doing, or if you are doing, you can just stop doing so that you don't have to start paying a whole bunch of extra for insurance. But none of this is stuff that I have done or do currently, so I'm going to say no. Do you or your employees or subcontractors perform any spray painting work? No, we don't. Would you like coverage for work in or on multifamily residential buildings such as apartment buildings, condominiums, or any complex with more than 4 housing units? No, everything I work on is a single family home or a duplex, but definitely not a quadplex or above. So I do not need coverage for that. Next, about your general contracting. Do the activities of your subcontractors include blasting manhole or traffic lights? No. How frequently do you or one of your employees, not subcontractors, visit each job site? How frequently do you or your employees visit each job site? Less than once a month per job site. It's one trip there typically, so it's definitely just once a month on average for us, or less than once a month. I mean, it's one job a year per address or less. Have you filed business insurance claims in the past 3 years? No. Has your commercial insurance coverage been canceled, revoked, or non-renewed in the last 3 years? No. Has your business or any of its officers, owners, or parties been convicted of a felony, declared bankruptcy, had business-related lawsuits, had loss or litigation, or become aware of losses, accidents, or circumstances that could have given rise to a claim against this policy? No, none of those have happened. The following activities will be excluded from your policy. Please confirm that you acknowledge that you will not be covered for any of the following. These are the exclusions I've told you all about. Every policy is going to come with exclusions. So when you go, there are cheaper policies than next. There are companies that will charge you less money to get covered, and they will have more exclusions. There are companies that will charge you far more to get covered, and they'll have fewer exclusions. Actually, I'm not going to read all of these. You guys can read yours because depending on your answers, these are going to be different. But this is most of the stuff that you've already told them you don't do. I understand. Next. When would you like your coverage to start? Let's call it today, actually. I would not mind just getting brand new coverage today. Would you like to include umbrella or excess liability coverage? This extends the limit of your general liability coverage. No, I do not want umbrella or excess coverage. Next. What's the estimated cost to replace all tools and equipment at your business? All tools and equipment at my business. Honestly, guys, I don't use expensive tools. Y'all have seen most of my tools. I have an entire tools video, and honestly, I feel like I could replace all of that easily for $5 grand in a weekend by hitting the Home Depot a couple times and a couple pawn shops, and probably replace every single thing that my company could possibly lose. So only tools and equipment, not talking about inventory, just tools and equipment. I'm going to say $5,000. And this says a little note, include the estimated cost of items you regularly use for work, such as lawnmower, power tools, safety helmets, hearing protection, etc. When would you like your coverage to start? Today. Next. So we got from basic, premier to deluxe, we've got $182.67 per month, all the way up to $226.92 per month. So this is only $82 more per month than what I'm currently paying. And let's see what's included in this. So they're all going to include general liability, $1 million. The deluxe is going to have general liability, $2 million, which I do like. I have not gotten into working for colleges, universities, county, city, and state, but oftentimes those will require $2 million, although that one's quite a bit more expensive. So let's look at what else this is. Contractors, professional liability up to 10K, up to 10K, or up to 25K. Customer injuries on site included. Third-party injuries included. Not included on the basic plan is tools and equipment, which, to tell you the truth, I don't know if I care about the tools and equipment, because if all of my tools and equipment were stolen, again, I could get what I need for 5 grand. And that would be assuming I wanted to get every single possible tool that I could possibly need to like fully stock a brand new van with all great tools for a new employee. So I may not even care about not including the tools and equipment in the cheap plan if I do want the cheap plan. What gets added with Premier and Deluxe is damage to equipment you own or damage to the tools you own, which I don't really need that either. Yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. So honestly, the only huge difference I'm seeing between these business owner policies is just that the general liability goes up to 2 million. So I could get either one of these, and this is just 1 million. So it's honestly the only real two I'm choosing from is the basic or the deluxe. That takes us from 182.67 up to 226. So I'm going to ballpark that and just call it an extra $50 a month to have 2 million liability. I do want to impress some potential new clients that I'm going to be talking to very shortly here, and I would like to be able to show them that I have 2 million in general liability instead of 1 million. And my professional liability goes up to 25K. For those of you who don't understand professional liability, I'm going to give you a couple examples on what professional liability is. So number one, let's say somebody's flipping a house and they've got a plan in place. This house is going to be ready to flip in 3 months. They're going to be ready to sell it in 3 months. And for that to happen, all of their subcontractors, one of which might be you, all of their subcontractors need to get things done by certain dates. You tell them, yeah, I'm going to have this done by a certain date. But because you missed that date, let's say it doesn't matter even if maybe your back went out and you just couldn't do it. That doesn't matter. If you don't hit that date and you're a month late and you push them back a month, it costs them a certain amount of money for that additional month that they were incurring expenses on this property without being able to either rent it out or sell it or whatever. And they can come after you and sue you for the amount of money that they claim they lost. This also applies to, for example, let's say they hire you to put up some cabinets in the laundry room, and you go put up those cabinets in the laundry room, and they put a $5,000 brand new set of washer and dryer beneath those cabinets, and then those cabinets fall. That's not covered under general liability. General liability is for accidents on site at the time that you're doing the work. It doesn't cover you just simply not doing a good job. So if those cabinets fall off the wall, then and land on that washer and dryer, and now you're on the hook for that washer and dryer, plus the cabinets, plus the drywall damage, plus it cracked a bunch of tile, or maybe somehow you do something that breaks a water main or a water line inside the house and it does a bunch of flooding. That also would fall under professional liability. That's going to help pay for getting a lawyer to get yourself represented to bring that number down, and or to cover the actual judgment that you end up having to pay. So to jump from 10K to 25K is pretty nice, because if you do something that messes up, let's say a brand new kitchen and all of the cabinets in that kitchen, that could easily get up to 25K. If you flood a house, easily over 20 or up to 25K. Catch the garage on fire or something, any number of things you do could easily take you from this 10K to the 25. So for an extra $50 a month, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with 2 million liability so that I could just, number one, have access to a lot of clients I couldn't have had access to. Also, to just impress clients in general, to show them, hey, I have double the general liability than any of your other handymen. And I get that contractor's professional liability up to 25K. And then the fact that, damage to equipment I own or tools I own, that's nice. They'll go ahead and throw that in there. So let's say get deluxe coverage. And I may, let's see, any of my personal info on here. I don't see any yet. So I'm going to take y'all off the screen for a second while I put in my personal info. So all the card info is in there. I'm going to be required to pay first month and last month plus a $8 service fee. So my total due today is going to be $461.79. I'm going to click purchase coverage, and then I'll bring y'all back on here, assuming the next screen doesn't show any of my personal info. I'll just edit it out if it does, I suppose. There we go. Yeah, it does. So I'll just black that out. Enter verification code sent to the email address. I can grab my phone for that. 71007. Now let's verify your phone number. They sent a code to the phone number. Yeah, I'm going to have to edit this out. That's fine. 54495. There we go. Verification confirmed. Instant access to your certificates. Download our app for even faster access from your phone. Next. Congrats, your account is set up. Now you can share your proof, add a certificate holder, and review and update your coverage. Let's go. Look at that, guys. I got it. This is all of it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this while I have you all on here. I'm just going to go ahead and print up my certificates so I can put them into some packages that I'm going to be taking to some property managers. Again, I'm not trying to grow a lot, but what I'm doing, the reason I'm doing all this is because I have a new opening with one of the bigger property management companies here in town. They may or may not want to use me for some stuff, but I do like the owner a lot. I respect the company a lot. I used to do a lot of work for them, and they are a well-oiled machine. They do a lot of business, and I know that they appreciate business owners who are legit business owners, who aren't just kind of running around trying to make some money here and there for the week. So I'm going to be taking this stuff as a package to them at some point, and I'm also going to go to some of the higher end property management companies here, and I'm going to offer my services only for move outs, but only on high end properties as well, because I do need to fill in some more time and get some more content and make some more revenue. But I don't want to do that by just getting more generic handyman work, because a lot of those jobs, honestly, it would be better for me to just sub them out or have W-2 employees. And I'm not looking to add that to this business until later on this winter when we slow down a little bit. That's when I'm going to try to expand out to that. So I've got my new coverage. I hope this was useful to you guys. You can go get your own now. Like I said, you could start out with general liability and move up to a business owner's policy later if you want, or you can just go ahead and start with a business owner's policy. But that professional liability that gets added on top of the general liability when you do business owners policies, that's what's going to save you if you mess up a job and it comes back to bite you later. So with that being said, I love you guys. I hope you're all out there killing it. Go get yourself some insurance. There is a link in the description if it's time for you to get some insurance for Next Insurance. I highly recommend them. I've always been on with them. Now I have to go get my other older policy canceled, but I already let them know that I was going to be doing that. So, like I said, love you guys. Hope you're out there killing it. I'll see you on the next one.